Hello and welcome to Eye on the Money, the television show that gives you insights into how to improve your financial well-being as well as make your money work for you. I'm Ingrid Nantege. Now on today's show, we discuss offshore investing and why it's an avenue you should probably consider exploring. Now, offshore investing is often demonized, painting a picture of tax-evading investors illegally stashing their money with some shady company located in an obscure Caribbean island. While it's true that there will always be instances of shady deals, the vast majority of offshore investing is perfectly legal. Joining me on the show today to discuss offshore investing and the benefits that come with it is Ibrahim Karudhiru, the managing partner, Brick Lane Capital LLP, which offers advisory on Kenyans investing in offshore markets. Thank you for making time to join us here today, Ibrahim.
All right, thank you.
Offshore investing, it sounds like such a foreign concept, pun intended. So for our audience back home or any Kenyan who's watching the show here today, just help us demystify that concept of offshore investing. What is it to start with?
All right, offshore investing is you investing outside of your jurisdiction. So if you're investing outside of your jurisdiction, that means that's offshore investing. So if you invested in Uganda, in Tanzania, anywhere, could be South Africa, US, the UK, that is offshore investing. The only difference when it comes to the stock market is that we normally look for the most liquid stock exchanges, which is the US being the largest stock exchange in the world. And then you have the UK, you have the Asian market, Singapore, and all that. But yes, that is offshore investing. Difference being that one is a stock exchange, but if you have a business outside of Kenya, that is offshore investing.
I mean, you've put it very palatably and very easily to understand. It's just investing in a jurisdiction that's not yours. However, for someone who's interested in just, investing my money somewhere, someone would argue and say it's hard enough to invest and, accrue benefits in my own country. So how easy could it be for a foreigner to invest in, a country, a jurisdiction beyond theirs? So my question then is, what does the procedure entail? Is it a complicated process? Just help us understand how someone can go about offshore investing.
Well, offshore investing, we have currently three brokerage firms, which is FX Pesa, there's Scope Markets, and there's also Pepperstone. Now, they give you the ability to be able to invest or buy shares from offshore exchanges. So you can buy, say, Google, you can buy Facebook. They do give you that option. It's relatively new to the Kenyan market, but it they just it's a start, and you can just go in and try and invest in there, but you need a bit of knowledge. That's, I think, the most important part, because if you go in without knowing what you're doing, then you have a big problem and you might lose your money. So the process is simply have a brokerage account that can give you access to offshore stock exchanges. So we have the three currently in Kenya. Alternatively, you can go for other, in other jurisdictions. They have, for instance, you can open an account with Interactive Brokers. So I mean, Interactive Brokers is like a whole buffet of it. So you will be able to have access to about 24 stock exchanges, and that's it. That's as simply as that. Once you have a brokerage account, that's it.
Now, Ibrahim, you so candidly put it by saying, even as you have an account, you have access to these, you have access to investing offshore, you still need to have prior knowledge before going into this. So as someone who's interested, how can I then tap into this knowledge? Where do I go to get all the advisory information that I need before I embark on investing into offshore?
All right. So we do have, like currently, we do have our online classes where we do teach people on how to invest in offshore stock exchange. So currently, we are running a startup pack for very new investors, beginners who really have no clue whatsoever how it works. So what we do is we teach you. We give online. It's simply online. You just subscribe to our class. And from there on, you simply just we have the whole platform. So we use both Zoom and Google Meet as well as WhatsApp. So the WhatsApp is part where we give you the theory part, and then we have a paper account where you actually become your own portfolio manager. So we literally teach you the theory and also give you the practical part of it where you can actually now do it practically. You can buy Google, sell Google. So it's a paper account, so it's not a lot. It's not so demanding. What I do encourage is for people to play around with them, try to learn what are options. As much as we teach you, you have to try to go that extra mile and learn how to go about it. So we teach you how to go, how to invest from the practical part where we give you the fundamental side and also the technical analysis. So the technical analysis comes in where you have to understand how, when, and how exactly to place a trade, right? So you need to know about the moving averages. You need to know about maybe the VWAP, and you also need to learn a bit maybe of the charts part, but most of it is on the fundamental side where you need to learn, like for instance the US stock exchange or the US stock markets, they use a different um, accounting from what we use, because we are in the IFRS and they use the GAAP, which is the generally accepted accounting principle. So it's a bit different, but if you have at least a bit of prior knowledge about that, then you can join in. Alternatively, for beginners, you do have, for you just to have you know, just to get in there, you can alternatively just we teach you how to go about investing in exchange traded funds, which are the ETFs. So it's a simple way to get access.
So with that said, the question of the why then would come up. Someone would ask, why should I even consider, investing offshore? It doesn't seem so straightforward. I mean, I have to tap into all this knowledge. I have to figure all this out. What still my investments are out of my jurisdiction? How do I manage that? So what are some of the benefits that you tell someone they're going to accrue from this? So it's, to put it lightly, worth the pain.
Okay, now for the, you need to focus more on, I'll say, dollarizing your, or dollar I'll say dollarizing your assets base, because what we currently have since the beginning of 2020, the Kenya shilling has lost about roughly about nine Kenya shillings to the dollar, and it looks like it'll keep on going because the remittances, as per a few of the articles online, they're saying it might reduce maybe by 20% because jobs are not what they used to be anymore, and that's the largest part where we get our dollar inflow in the country, right? So you do at least need to have that access. Secondly, is we do not have access to all industries, especially in Kenya, because we do not have technology. None of that exists in NSC. We do not also have companies like biotech. We don't have mining companies. We do have an ETF on gold, but very few on, or actually none exists in silver, platinum, and all that. So it's a way to access a vast array of more opportunities that you cannot currently have or are not offered in the NSE, including the derivatives as well. We do have a few companies, about five maybe, that you can buy derivatives of. In the US, there are just too many of them to choose from. So you can do futures, you can do or you can do options. You can also, if you want to push it a bit, you can do contract for difference, which are the CFDs. There's also spread betting. Yeah, the array of investment opportunities is there for you to just pick on any that you would like.
So Ibrahim, you've touched a bit here and there on this, even when you talked about if you're investing in the stock market. My question is, what are the available instruments for offshore investing? What are the options available for people out there?
There's stocks. Definitely stocks are there. You have bonds, you have futures, you have I see a lot of Kenyans lean towards more like forex. um it's part of actually offshore investing as well, but the trading part takes time, and I think a lot of people rush into it, and you normally just go losing money, and they end up calling it a fraud. I'm not into forex myself. I just focus on the stock exchange, which is part of the larger array, because you have bonds, you have options, you have futures, you have, I mean, it's a never ending cycle. You just can invest in anything you want. You have ETFs as well. You can invest like for spin-offs. They know that there's which I'll call special situation investing. The likes of Buffett used to talk about them back when he was starting. So there's so many ways to invest in the US market, or on a global scale. So yes.
Now, with every investment, the timing aspect is very key, and also there obviously has to be a need, or rather a gap in the market. So when we're talking about offshore investments, how do you determine the right time to go into this? Like, when is it okay to invest offshore?
I normally don't really think there's a right time to go into it. What I think is, just when you're prepared, just go in, because uh, say you're a value investor, there are always stocks which are going to be, more than fairly priced or overpriced. There are others which are going to be undervalued for one reason or another. Maybe some information came in, and investors, sold and asked questions later. So normally you just have to be, when you're confident enough that you've learned enough, and you can actually get in there, you just go ahead and invest. I'd say anytime is your right time. You Anytime, if you're ready, just go ahead. But I do like a lot of, like, the December. There's a lot of selling pressure during the December holidays, as most fund managers in the US try to imitate, or at least stay at par with the S&P 500. So you try to make sure that you own the same return. So if the S&P is up 10%, you're trying to be at the same. So they sell a lot of other companies for that same reason. So there's a lot of selling in December, and you're able to get some very good companies then. And then, looking forward into the next 1 year will be a very great time to reap your return. Yeah.
Now it's that point in the show we take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about offshore investments. However, before we go, let's take a real quick look at this message from Equity Bank.
My name is Dr. Zipporah Kailo. I am a lecturer at Kenya Methodist University in the Department of Counseling, and my area of specialization is counseling psychology. That is what I teach. I'm actually in charge of the department as a coordinator of the department. I also do consultancy in counseling, whereby I deal with a wide variety of issues with teenagers and young adults in the areas of understanding human sexuality, establishing the right relationships, even improving the academic performance as a teacher. I'm very passionate about that. And even goal setting on long and short term. Apart from that, I'm also an investor in real estate. I have invested in housing units where I generate some rental income, and this income has been helping me to service my loans. Like currently I am servicing a loan from Equity Bank, and it is the rental income that is helping me, supplemented by my salary. COVID-19 came with like a thunderbolt, because it is something that we never expected. We started the year well, and we thought all was well, especially in March. The economy had stabilized after the festivities. But then when COVID-19 struck in at the mid of March, I started experiencing challenges, like in getting my rental income, especially in April. It was such a challenge. Most of my customers or tenants, they were redundant in their job places. I remember some of them telling me they are earning half salary, and therefore they just talked with me, and I I just accommodated them that way because they were good tenants before, but I was suffering in silence because now I could not meet my financial obligations, especially repaying my loan. So I was actually like not able to meet some of my very, very basic needs. And as that continued in May, I talked to my bank Equity and I negotiated whether my loan could be rescheduled. And graciously, Ellen Weru and Charles Mushiri, in consultation with the general manager, Mr. Kehara, we strategized and I was given a grace period of 12 months for repaying my loan. This really eased my burden because what I used to pay, I'm now paying like a quarter of what I used to pay. It made my life very comfortable. I was no longer financially constrained, and I also did not want to constrain my tenants. I extended the same grace to my tenants, and they have been paying that way. Those who are able to pay, fine. Some have not even paid 4 months. Some have been paying half rent their rent. But now life is resuming to normalcy, and some have they have now received their salary, full salary, and they are now paying fully. And so we are just things are just picking up that way gradually. Rescheduling has worked very well for me because I'll start now repaying the normal repayment in June next year. I've really relaxed. As you can see my face, I'm so relaxed. I'm no longer tensed up that tomorrow is the day to repay the loan and I don't have the money. This is money that I've been able to generate with a lot of ease. Yes, and my tenants are very happy tenants now. To people out there who are not aware of this issue of rescheduling of loans, I would advise them to get in touch with their banks, their branches, and negotiate with the bank manager or relationship managers, and they will be able to repay their loans with a lot of ease. They will not be under undue pressure. I would say banks are very understanding, and my bank is Equity Bank. I found them to be very understanding because my loan was actually rescheduled beyond my expectation. So I would tell anyone out there, don't suffer in silence. Approach your bank, negotiate with them, and see how you can be helped. But there is a way out. With Equity, I just call. I don't have to go there necessarily. I just make calls to Helen Weru, to Charles Mushiri, and others, and we just talk over the phone. So most of the times I don't even go there. Sometimes I'm even called instead of me calling. It has really been very easy. I have seen human face through Equity Bank. If you are looking for a bank, I would say look for a bank that takes care of everyone, from the lowest to the highest in the society, a bank